Check 1 2, testing 1 2. Sorry I'm late, guys. We'll see you in a little bit. Check, check. Welcome back to another live stream, everybody. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like I look a little different on this monitor, but I did update my OS and a bunch of software, so let me know if it looks weird. Let me know if it sounds okay and if everything is working out. So we are using the DIY SM7B right now. This is the $30 version. We've got some updates when it comes to that and a lot of things to talk about, but mainly this is another episode of video production, the hotline, the helpline, whatever. I still can't figure out what it's called. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. We're going to be goodness gracious, someone knocked my water over. We're going to do a lightning round of that. Also tonight is camera and flash. So after this stream, I'm going to be heading over to my good friend Jem Schofield's channel, and I'll share a link to that in the chat as we get closer. But it's going to be youtube.com/thec47, the letter C47. So we've got a couple quick things I want to talk about before we dive in. The first is going to be that in the description of this video, you will find links to everything I use for live streaming. So if you want to check that out, you can find everything down there. The software, absolutely everything. So if you're looking at the setup and you want to learn more about it, all of that is down there. The second thing is that I am selling a ton of gear on Gear Focus. So in the description also, you'll find a link to that. In short, if you're looking for cameras, lenses, lights, I'm selling a ton of stuff over there. So that's in the description. What else? If you head over to the Academy, so academy.dslrvideoshooter.com, you will see that the GH6 guide is finally here. I also have a new LUT pack, which is included. So you can buy the entire guide for $80. Actually, it's on sale for the first week. I don't know, $5 off or something like that. Or you can just pick up the LUT pack, which includes a false color LUT. So for the first time that I've seen, you can have an in-camera false color LUT on the GH6, which is pretty fantastic. And I've also included a false color LUT for all the older Panasonic cameras using the .VLT LUT. So this will work with your S1, this will work with your EVA1, this will work with your GH4, anything that accepts in .VLT. So check it out, academy.dslrvideoshooter.com. I believe that's in the description. You can learn more about the LUT as well as the new Panasonic GH6 guide, which is loaded with a ton of information, and the entire LUT pack is also included in that. So that's it for updates. Oh, there's one more, and it involves these lovely things. So for those of you who saw this project where I built an SM7B using 3D printed parts and handheld microphones, and it goes inside of this little enclosure here, I sold a couple of those just as kind of oh, this would be fun, just throw a couple out there. The response was insane. So we are working on a huge batch of these microphones. I have one of them fresh off the printer here. So this is what you'll get in the pack. You've got the main body itself. It just takes your microphone and you just throw it in there and boom, SM7B, you take your grill, you thread it on, and then there is a mount which attaches right here with a couple of bolts, and you can thread this on and have something like this. It takes the stock foam cover, so watch your ears. This is a white one, which I do want to explore making white ones, but right now we're just going to stick with black. I'll mute my microphone as I put this back on. And it works with the official SM7B accessories. But what's new to this particular version, let me go ahead and take the grill back off and pop the microphone back out, is instead of having two different models, one for the Shure SM58 and one for the XM8500, I've decided to make a simple adapter. So out of the box, this thing will work with the XM8500, and if you want to use it with the SM7B, or it's the other way around, I think it works with the SM58, good grief, there's a lot of letters and words. So it'll work out of the box with that, but you can simply take this simple adapter, throw it in, and now it'll work with another microphone. So one body, two different microphones, and I might expand this to more microphones in the future, but for now, that's what we're working with. So stay tuned on the channel here, as well as on Twitter and Instagram. That's where I'll be announcing when these kits become available again, because they sold out pretty quickly, and I'm hoping to have a bunch more done before long. So with all that out of the way, let me switch over to Ecamm here, and let's see what we've got when it comes to questions. So if you have any questions at all, leave them in the comments. If I start to get shiny, our AC broke in the building here, so it's going to get a little warm this evening with all this stuff turned on. So let's see. I saw one at the top of the show here from the one and the only, well, here's one from Tristan. Question, is there a big downside to using ProRes LT rather than 422? So light, yes, you will. If you zoom into like 400+%, you might notice some stuff. Definitely do some tests for yourself. The one you definitely want to avoid is ProRes Proxy. Proxy is awful stuff. Never record that unless you're absolutely desperate. But Proxy is really, really bad. Finally have a legit question for Caleb. Hit me, man. Unless I missed it already. Let's see. Man, it's good to see everyone, by the way. I forgot to do my shout-outs at the beginning of the show. Mr. Camera Junkie, James, Timothy, Rob, AJ, and a whole bunch of y'all. So it's great to see everybody and to be back. I missed last week. All right, looking for questions. Question, FS5 RAW recorder. I have the FS5 RAW recorder. Looking for a second camera for a gimbal, B-cam, weddings. Should I do an A7, 3, C, or S2? Or Panasonic S1? Wow, so there's a lot of camera options. If I were you, I would say, A7 IV if possible. I know it's probably a little more, but I think the A7 IV is going to give you the most bang for buck when it comes to having, better color. Man, it's starting to really get warm in here. I do have a fan going, so if you hear that, I apologize, but it's like 80 degrees in here. Let's see. Ooh, do we have any tips for managing and maintaining a large archive of video, photos, digital media? That is a great question. I would say don't get too complicated, but get just complicated enough. So the way we do it is we have a folder system. So it goes year, 2020, 2021. Then it goes by the video number for that year. So the way we organize everything is if I look at any video, no matter what, the beginning of that video, instead of just being a title, it'll be the, for YouTube at least, it'll be the video number and year. So it'll be like, 12-22. So that tells me that's the 12th video we've produced in 2022. So that's for YouTube. It's a little different for productions, but that's how we organize it. I know in the past we've done for our corporate work, year, month, or year client. There's a bunch of different ways to go about it. But just make sure that your project folder is the same, and that helps immensely. So I used Post Haste. It is a free piece of software, and I'm sure there's something equivalent for Windows or Linux if you're on a different situation. But here's what we use: Post Haste, free, and essentially you can auto-generate project folders every single time with one click. And you can even have like templates. So if you use, Adobe or Final Cut or whatever, you can have these templates created, which is pretty fantastic. So that's Post Haste. So yeah. All right. What do we got? What is your real life job? The one that gives you enough money to survive this complicated world. This is my real job. You're watching it right now, helping you guys figure out whatever it is you need to figure out with video. All right. I need to lock into where I am with these questions. Okay, so we did Emmett's great question. Oh, sorry about that. Mic a little too hot. Let me turn it down here. Check 1, 2. Check, check. Check 1, 2. That seems a little better. Sorry about that, guys. Thank you for the heads up there, AJ. What do we got? Currently using the Rode Wireless Go built-in mic for years. Want to upgrade. Any suggestions? Price doesn't matter. Best sounding lavalier. Yeah, I'm not that into lav microphones, but I would say, the $100 one from Rode, or $120, that's not bad. There is one I discovered the other month. It was like $600 to $800. But if you watch, just go check out or talk to people in Hollywood doing this on a living. There are a couple microphones that they swear by, but I can't remember what it's called, so I'm sorry. Okay, I set, use the A7 IV. I set the white balance, very warm. Set it 5600 indoor, still warm. My skin looks orange. Any tips? Sometimes I use a Freewell ND, but that's warm with or without. You could switch over and just not use manual. I do know, or not use auto. I do know auto can be, or the custom rather, can be off pretty significantly. You could also, if you know it's going to be off every single time and it's just always off and always too warm, you could get a card that is a little cooler, right, than white, or warmer depending on how skewed it is. And that could be a good way to go about it. Yeah, that's probably what I would do. Or just not use that. Stick with Kelvin, because then you can manually tweak it. Another budget question. This is from Alan. What's up, Alan? I have a client who wants to do 3-camera setup for a video podcast. I have the Pocket 6K, so he's looking at the other two to buy 2 lenses. I'll be monitoring with the Atem Mini. So what are you looking for there? I'm sorry. Lenses, what you're looking for lens-wise, definitely try to get something that's going to match. So stick with all Canon or, all Rokinon or whatever lenses you want. And if it's going to be a lockdown setup, you could go with primes, and And if you're not going to have autofocus, which those cameras aren't great with autofocus, you could definitely save some money. I believe I have a Rokinon kit for sale at my my Gear Focus if you want to check it out. But yeah, I would probably go with primes, some budget primes, lock them in, shoot at f4 or something, so you don't have to, people moving back and forth. You're not going to have any problems. All right. What is the best way to light a YouTube videos and add more depth between you and the background? So if you have zero depth and there's just nothing you can do, you can just lean into it, kind of like this setup where it's a gray and just, you have no idea how far away that is. You kind of do, because I have some stuff here. But definitely a fast lens, as fast as you can get if you have good autofocus. So this is a 35mm f1.8. That really helps, shallow depth of field. Add stuff at different depths in your background. So, I mean, I don't know, here's a pair of scissors, but if you can imagine, I could have something, kind of like that picture back there, that play button, just different depths. That's going to help sell depth, having different objects, not having just everything on the wall in the background. I like adding lights, as you see here, I guess. I think that really adds something to your setup, gives some dimensions. You've got, darkness here, lots of dark shadow, mess with that. Plants are great too. So if you can get some plants, and then check out my video I did on mirrors where you can fake sunlight. I don't have that set up in here, but that's a great way to add a lot of depth to your setup. Sorry, and I don't know if I put that one up there. All right, what do we got? Question, shooting my first metal concert. Love it. Can't figure out if I need a gimbal, shooting solo with the A7 III, stabilized zoom lens, few stationary GoPros. That's a good question. Is it just you, or is it a couple different shooters? Because, someone on a gimbal could be a great way to mix it up if you're going to have a giant multicam and post, just an option. If it were me and I'm filming metal, I would have my locked off stuff, and I would just have a really comfortable, because you're going to be running around, handheld rig. And I would shoot that bad boy handheld, jump up on stage if you're allowed to, or, move around, get some great handheld stuff to intercut with your locked off shots, and maybe every once in a while throw that camera on a gimbal and just get a nice sweep, right? But I wouldn't shoot the whole thing, especially metal. I wouldn't shoot necessarily that whole thing with a gimbal. But I'm not a huge gimbal guy, so maybe I'm not the right person to ask, right? Caleb, want to design and sell film production vest, something you can wear on set that has all the pockets and attachments you can. What features would you want? That is an awesome, awesome idea, Carlson. I've actually thought about this, like an apron, because when I'm not filming videos, I love doing DIY, and I've always loved a good, like, woodworking apron, right? Yeah, apron or vest. I mean, I would want to make sure it's very modular. So what is that system called? The military uses it on like backpacks. It's like there's these like lines where you can clip different stuff. Definitely something where you can customize it a lot. Lots of Velcro. But think about all the stuff, the daily carry stuff. So some kind of knife, lots of C47s, little clips. I mean, these little things, I'm actually using it right now. I don't know if that's going to show up. Do one of the makeup things, right? These little clips, just lots of options. Give people flexibility. But I think that's a fantastic idea, and you should 100% do it. All right. Hello, and thank you for helping. What's up? Fardin, I think. I have $6,000, want to buy a camera for video and photo. What would I recommend? Ooh, well, that's a great budget. I mean, with that kind of money, I would look at something like the Canon R5C. That's a fantastic camera. Sony's A1, or if you want to spend more on lenses, and that's part of your budget, like A7 IV. I'm sorry. Yeah, A7 IV. Man, the heat's starting to throw me off here. That's probably what I would consider. All right, I have missed a bunch of stuff. I know there's some people doing super chats, so I'm going to scroll down, guys. If I missed your question, I'm sorry. You can repost it. What is going on? Tobiah, $2 donation, or €2, excuse me. A little support for one of my favorite YouTubers. Man, thank you so much. That's really kind of you. Really appreciate it. And I believe you have a channel, right? So people should check out. I'm pretty sure you do. You look really familiar, man. Like I've watched your stuff. I know you've been on the chats, but I thank you so much for the donation. Really appreciate it. And then, good grief, look at all these. Here he is. Oh my gosh, dude. First of all, thank you for the super chat. $10. Can't donate enough to give back all the content of the years. My question is about the Pavo 12C and the Amaran T2C. I watched your video on it, wondering if the T2C is okay as a key, no diffusion. I mean, for me personally, I prefer a larger light source than something like that, but you could get away with it if you're going for a little more of a moody vibe. The Pavo 12C I have not tried, but I believe they're around the same size, right? No, that's even smaller. So probably the T2C, because that's going to give you a solid 2-foot light source. It's going to be super smooth. So yeah, I'm probably going Amaran with that. And as the key, yes, you could. Me personally, I probably wouldn't do it. I would turn that thing around, bounce it into a little foam board. But secondly, I love your videos, man. I've seen your stuff. I really want to get into some synth action, some modular stuff at some point, but I'm just not quite ready for it. But I've watched a ton of your videos, so thank you for all the awesome content. All right, we got another super chat from 710K Nuss News and Talk. $10 donation. Caleb, G85 course has been so amazing. For some reason, none of my 3 cameras are recording when I hit the record button. I can take photos. Is there a setting I'm missing? Odd that it's all 3 cameras. That is really odd. Maybe there's a firmware update, but you can't hit record. That's very strange. So does the record button work? There is, I believe, a setting where you can remap the record button. Try doing that. Map it to another button, see if that works. Try making sure there's nothing connected. Change batteries. Change cards. Try all that stuff. But that's a really odd one for all 3 cameras just to stop. Very, very strange. Good grief with these donations. There's more down here. I'm going to catch up with them. Gee Whiz, he's a legend. He's here all the time. Thank you so much for hanging out, my man. $8 for a coffee for our favorite guru. Well, that's so sweet of you. I really appreciate that. Did you do 2 of those? What is up with that? Thank you, Gee Whiz. Good to see you as always. And Tristan Wood Cinema, $5 donation. He says, do you know the main differences between the Rokinon DS and DSX? Love what you do. Keep holding it down. Thank you so much, man. Oh, man. If I remember correctly, and don't quote me on this, you can look it up, but I'm pretty sure the DSX is it lighter? But I think the coatings are all the same. In fact, the Zines, the expensive, like, metal, heavy-duty Rokinon lenses, those and the Cine DS are the same thing. When it comes to the optics and coatings, the housing is completely different and definitely better on the Zines. But I believe the DSX, I want to say it's a lighter lens, but I could be wrong. So I'd have to look that up. In fact, we could do that real quick. Fire up a browser here. DS versus DSX Rokinon. I'm sure somebody's got something on that. Let's just hop over to good old Video Maker. New feature. Lenses quite promising. Yes, yes, yes. What is different? Okay, so yeah, this article has some stuff here. Okay, so there is a slightly different element. So there are going to be some differences there. So you can read that, check it out, see what you think. But that's kind of the deal there. All right, did we get them all? All the super chats? Perfect. Okay, so we're going to jump back into questions. So if you've got any, drop them below. We're going to pick up right here with Sean. What's your strategy for content planning to post on a regular basis? Man, you guys are just killing it with fantastic questions. So Sean, actually, I'll just leave this question up so people who might be tuning in can see what's up. So I have a kind of a 2-list system for myself. So the first list is kind of like an inbox. I throw every thought that comes into my head when it comes to video ideas in that list. So, if I wake up in the middle of the night, have an idea, throw it in there. Then on a regular basis, I will organize that and I will kind of trim it down. And what I'll do is I'll take those ideas and either I'll delete it because I'm like, that was a terrible video idea, or it'll go to kind of an A list, like, wow, I think this is one of the better ideas of all the ideas I have. So I've got a really good video list idea. Then I have a B list, which is like, maybe let me think about it some more. So that's what I do. Inbox every idea, organize it into kind of A tier and B tier list. When it comes to, and then that, some days you're on a roll and you're coming up with great ideas. So lean into it. If you need to film, but you're having a great day when it comes to ideas, take some time to really write that stuff down. So that's kind of how I take care of it. And then that usually takes care of the content, right? So as long as you stay on top of organizing that list, then that should be enough. If it's, I feel like if you're really passionate about a certain area and you're making videos on it, you shouldn't run out of stuff. Now, every once in a while, you will, and you'll just be frustrated. And that's why you want to keep those ideas, unless they're absolutely terrible. Sometimes that B list turns into an A list. So that's kind of how I organize all of that. Any tips on grading 8-bit footage? Try not to, if at all possible. Try to get it as close to good as possible. And if you're filming in log, try to use LUTs, because the more you have to stretch it and push it yourself, official LUTs are usually what you want to go with. What is up? We Death Mod. Just tuning in. What is the lighting background illumination for 100 and below? What is the best lighting for background illumination, $100 and below? You can get away with a lot for your background. I think the light I'm using now is way overkill. It's at maybe 5%. So, any of those little square LED lights you can get on Amazon, that's probably what I would look into. Doesn't take much, especially if you can put it on a stand and put it right behind you. People don't think about that because they don't want it in the shot, but if you're going to be right here, you can hide a lot of stuff behind yourself. For Jonas, how big is it? Oh, okay, right. Zion Dude is jumping in with some help for you, Jonas. So if you're still in here, he's got some tips for your metal concert setup. Okay. Oh, damn. So I forgot that this week we're starting Camera and Flask 30 minutes early, which means in 1 minute, we are going live over there. So I'm actually going to shut down the stream. Let me grab the link for you guys. This is hilariously embarrassing. Wow. Let's do this. Let's go to youtube.com, C47. I completely spaced. Jem Schofield just messaged me and he's like, we're still good for a minute from now, right? Schedule. Okay, so this is the right one. I'm dropping it in the chat. Let's keep this party rolling over there. So there it is in the chat. I'll show you what it looks like on my end here. This is where I'm going to show up in like a minute or less. So the C47, we're going to do a live stream over there. I'm so sorry, guys. Wow. Completely forgot that I have to do that early this week. So if I missed your comment, I know we've got a super chat in here. 65 drums. Carry that question over there. I'm going to log off here. Again, I'll drop the link in the chat. So sorry. And I'll see you guys over there in just a little bit. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if not, we'll be here next week and we'll keep this party rolling. So with that, see you in the next stream in just a moment over at the C47. Thanks, guys.